How are you? Today, this is our third lecture on figures of speech. We have started a series of lectures on which we are going to deal with different figures of speech. Today, we will deal with analogy. Let's define it. A comparison between one thing and another, typically for the purpose of explanation or clarification, is called analogy. The next one is an analogy is used when you compare two completely different ideas or things and use its similarities to give an explanation of things that are hard to understand or are too sensitive. Two things are compared in analogy, and these two things will be different. These dissimilar things will have one similar or maybe two or more than that characteristics, and they are defined in that way that will help you to understand the topic quickly and easily. Writers mostly use this technique to make you understand different sensitive topics quite easily. So one thing which is different or which is totally dissimilar to another will be compared together because they have shared characteristics together, because their one of the character or the feature is similar, but overall two things will be dissimilar. So there are multiple examples. I know the definitions were quite complex and you may you got them hard to understand, but with the help of examples you will have no worries at all. For example, life is like a race. So here life and race are two dissimilar things, but one thing is common in them is competition. If you are not if you are weak, you will lose. If you haven't prepared enough, you will lose. So this is a similarity between both of these things. Finding a good man is like finding a needle in haystack. Finding a good man in the society and finding a needle in haystack are two dissimilar things, but feature is similar, that it is time taking and it is hard. Just as a sword is the weapon of a warrior, a pen is the weapon of a writer. So just like sword, it can make things, it can break things. Similarly, the writer or the pen can make or break things. You can bring change with the help of sword, or you can bring change with the help of pen. Both have power. That's as useful as rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. It depicts uselessness. I mean, two things are compared together, like usefulness or rearranging deck on the Titanic. So it shows uselessness, that two things, because Titanic is going to sink. So this is how you are explaining the sensitive topic. How a doctor diagnoses disease are like how a detective investigates crime. Here, suspects and diseases. This character is similar, this feature is similar, or like doctor, he finds out the reasons of the current sickness. On the other hand, a detective find out the clues to get the criminal. So the work is quite similar. The feature is quite similar, that you are analyzing, you are interpreting it. So every figure of speech has its own purpose. So purpose of analogy is it makes complex and sensitive topics easy and understandable for the readers. So writers mostly use analogy to make you understand sensitive and complicated topics quite easily, because if he use different analogies, you will get to know different things which are dissimilar, but the features are similar. So it makes you understand and increases your interest towards that reading or towards that book. So this is how writers use different figures of speech for your amusement and for their engagement towards you. So thank you. This was all in that lecture. Don't forget to give your feedback and subscribe my channel and ask others as well. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. Stay blessed.